Are those finger guns means we're live?
Oh, are we live?
Yeah, you're like over in
I was
La La
looking at my
Land,
phone. Well, hey.
I was refreshing my page.
Yeah, refresh this. Hey, welcome to another edition of Blood Moon Pictures podcast starring me, Eric Huskisson. And who are you? Anyway, we are here live from the Outbreak podcast studios. Thanks to David Abrams running the mic and the earphones over there, telling us what we can and can't do.
Running the mic and the earphones. You're just... Yikes.
Hey, everybody, welcome. Guess we're going to talk a little bit about horror tonight.
Yeah, a little bit. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about many things. We're going to talk
is October.
about it's the best time of the year.
Are we going to talk about your
This
rash?
is like our Christmas.
Oh, it's our Christmas. Oh,
Yep.
Did you get me something?
Happy Horror Days.
Oh, that's so sweet.
That's what you would say if you were Christian. You wouldn't say Christmas. You would say...
My name's not Christian. What are you talking about? What?
No.
Anyway, hey, I don't know if there's anybody that has joined us.
Yep, we've got apparently 12. At least.
12?
At least. So.
All right. Well, 12 of you that are on here, thank you for all our family for signing in. But anyway, it is October. What a great month. We're in fall. We
Finally.
are here for Blood Moon Pictures to talk about.
It feels fantastic out.
Yes,
by the
it's
way.
awesome out. I am.
It feels so good that David opened the door and let about 50 flies in.
Little Jeff Goldblum's.
So, is that what your Jeff Goldblum comment was earlier? I did not put two and two together.
Oh, my God.
I was like, why are you calling Jeff Goldblum the Orkin Man? I did not get it.
You need a spanking.
Yeah, David Cronenberg would be very disappointed in me.
I'm disappointed in you. That sounds
Yeah.
like something I would have done.
He and I are really good friends, so he'll probably call me later and tell me all about it.
Yeah, well, tell him I said hi because he still didn't return my calls.
No, if there's one thing I've learned about Eric, it's that no one returns his calls or
That's because
messages.
I never call anybody.
Or Facebook messages or emails, but they'll return mine.
Well, I wonder why. Because I hear about all the things you say behind
I'm
my
PJ
back.
Starks.
That if you
That's
need
why.
anything,
That's what I
don't
keep
call
hearing.
Eric, don't contact him, don't talk to him, contact me. That's what everybody tells me. I know it's true.
Okay, so
Yes.
Horror films.
Yes.
Eric, you're a horror fan.
Yes.
If I didn't know any better from your shirt.
Yeah, we're kind of reflecting.
Yes,
little
John Carpenter.
tonight.
He is our
I almost wore my Michael Myers
special
shirt tonight.
guest, unbeknownst to him. Oh my gosh!
God, what was that?
Hey, you know what's funny is Tuesday Tips is the first thing that pops up on your phone. Which, if you go to Foreman Watson Holtree LLP's Facebook page, you can check out Tuesday's Tips. Every Tuesday, they do a new tip about legal matters. It's actually pretty interesting.
When Foreman Watson starts giving money to us, they can be getting advertisements on our podcast. Okay, we're back to horror movies.
We'll talk about that.
Yes, we won't. All right. So, since we mentioned John Carpenter, big
Yes.
influence of mine. Was he an influence of yours?
Oh, absolutely. He was an influence even before I knew he was an influence.
Yeah, I got to almost agree with you. You've heard me talk before about what got me into horror.
Yep.
You know, watch B movies with my dad growing up. David Creamer, and they've talked about how they grew up watching B movies and they loved it. And I was the same way. And a lot of them were really bad, but I loved the special effects. Phantasm was around, and the special effects and Phantasm.
Can't go wrong with Phantasm.
Phantasm, and that got me. But when
Phantasm Ravager, you can go wrong.
When
the first Phantasm, you can't go wrong.
But when I saw Halloween, I don't know, I can't even explain what it was. I mean, his music, just gets, it intensifies every scene, and then it was just so new and so different, and I was hooked. I mean, I was hooked before, but I instantly, this dude's awesome.
Learn how to work your technology, Mr. Huskisson. You actually have to take that? How rude.
Hello.
Well, so I guess, hey. So I'm here all by myself now. So it's the month of October, and I guess one of the many things that we were going to talk about tonight. Oh, okay. Is everything okay?
I didn't catch him in time.
Well,
sorry, that was my doctor. I apologize, and I'm not going to go into details, but anyway, I missed the call. So there, are you happy?
I had a really inappropriate joke that I was going to tell.
Yeah.
And I decided not to say it.
Okay.
Because even though I think it would be hilarious, it was one of those, this is PC, a PC culture we're living in, so I can't. So I'm going to save that joke, and I'm going to put it in one of our movies, because there it'll be safe to say. But not in the live podcast, so.
You're being really hateful tonight.
I'm not being hateful. Yes, no, I'm being honest. What are you hateful? I held back. It doesn't get any better than that.
Anyway,
granted, John, I said I would immortalize it later on in a film, but that's neither here nor there.
I was talking about John Carpenter, and just from Halloween.
Right. So is that the movie that got you hooked on horror? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, I was into horror in the first place because I was really into special effects, because how they made stuff look so real just fascinated me. And that's why I watched the movies in the first place. I wasn't really into the scare or the plot or as much as, how it was filmed. It was the special effects. But when I saw Halloween, hook, line, and sinker. I mean, it sucked me in. I was there.
Right.
So
obviously you're talking more about like atmosphere and narrative, because there is very little special effects in that film.
What, in Halloween?
Yeah, in Halloween.
That's what I'm saying. Special effects was what I was drawn to. All the other movies I watched, I was watching it for the special effects. But when I watched Halloween, that got me into the entire horror atmosphere, not just the special effects of it. And you're right. There's some stabbings and some blood and some stuff.
But very little.
Yeah, but I mean, basically probably the most violent is the beginning with the boy, and the constant stabbing.
Right, where Michael.
Worst,
spoiler alert.
Oh yeah,
Michael kills his sister.
Yes. So, but yeah,
but even that, most of it's off screen because he
turns
and you see the knife coming down. So even then, you don't really see much. You see more of the aftermath in pretty much all the shots, actually, even when... Well,
I mean, because some of the B horror that I watch with my dad at night was and I'm not cracking. I mean, things have changed. Special effects are better. Filming's better. But they didn't have a lot of money back there. Those movies were made cheap. So they were...
It's probably good you clarified that, because I'm sure John Carpenter's watching this right now, and he would be livid if he found out.
No, I'm talking about the movies before I watched the old B horror movies. The Sammy Terry, Elvira Nights, the stuff they would show. But I still love the special effects, even though they were cheesy. I don't know why, it just drew me in, and some of them were like, "Oh my God, that looks so real." But yeah, Halloween as a whole got me hooked on horror, not just the special effects in horror. And so I've been a big fan of his since then. And God, you know how long ago that's been after your comment today that I got from you.
Right.
About my age, because I'm so much older than PJ.
Age? I would never make a joke about your age.
Really?
Dad.
Okay.
So.
Could be.
Hey.
Anyway.
I'm not going to say that either. That was really mean, what I was going to say. I'm just and you say I'm being hateful. I'm just in a good mood.
So what's different tonight than any other night? Normally you just let
Well, the first joke would have been it could be considered highly offensive to some. So that's why I didn't say it. Some would probably say I'm being a baby, but I decided to rein it in. The joke I was about to tell. Do you not know how to work the volume on your damn phone?
The first volume was my phone call. That one was the media. Finally got us pulled up live. We've got a lot of people on here.
Got to get those spectacles on.
That's right.
Benjamin Franklin would be really proud. Which you went to school with him, didn't you?
Who's that?
So...
Rob Zombie, Dayton Crabtree says Rob Zombie's Halloween movie was brutal.
It was that. It wasn't necessarily a great film, but it had some brutal moments. Which I watched. I rewatched Rob Zombie's Halloween last year, which would have been 10 years after it came out. And I enjoyed it better.
I've had other people tell me I need to go back because honestly, and I love Rob Zombie. Don't get me wrong, I love Rob Zombie, but I turned it off. People, you get mad at me because I have a thing about remakes, but then one of my favorite movies is The Thing, and it's a remake by John Carpenter with Kurt Russell. So I'm growing more of an appreciation for some, and I'm giving them a second chance, but I've had several people tell me I need to go back and watch Rob Zombie's. Rob Zombie's such a... with his stuff, he can be so creative. He's proved that. So I don't feel like he needed to go back and take something that was already a classic and redo it in his style. That's all I say about it.
Well,
there's just so many original ideas that need to be out there or could be out there that would be good.
Hint, hint.
But we're not seeing them because people are trying to do remakes because they made money before and they know it'll be a draw because there's already a fan base for it. And I'm not saying that's what Rob Zombie did, but I'm saying that's what a lot of films do.
That's the studio system, though.
Right.
The studio system, when they do a remake, it's kind of like fan films, which, you know, I recently put a post out there that said, you know, maybe we should pretend Volumes of Blood 3 is a Friday the 13th fan film, and then we might actually get it funded, which is kind of a joke and kind of serious.
Or Rebecca Reinhardt is watching.
But
she said, Sammy Terry, love, love, love. But I just have to say, Jason Zimmerman said, I don't think you guys are quite sitting far enough apart from each other. Well, if we don't, PJ can't keep his hands off of me. I'm just saying,
No.
Jason, that's, you know,
No,
it's
it's
just
the other way
PJ is.
around.
Whatever.
Eric
He
calls
wishes.
me, my nickname is Hot Stuff. It's disgusting. And that's why we sleep in
Once again,
separate
PJ
beds.
lives in dreamland. And I've never called him hot stuff unless he's given me $20 first. But that's only in hotels when we're at festivals, not around here. But anyway.
So
what
was the point I was making before you rudely interrupted me?
I was just trying to get some people involved that are
Oh,
watching.
yeah.
You know?
Well, we'll get to people here in a minute.
Okay.
But we're talking about other things. Besides,
Yawn.
this is also a podcast, so it's kind of pointless to talk about
Yawn.
specifically how many people are watching.
I was commenting on what they said. And not,
once this
I didn't
gets
say there was
posted
15
later,
people. Yawn.
Once, you know, Joe Rogan doesn't talk about the 10,000 people that are watching him live. No, he just talks.
Anyway, go.
So,
Ramble.
we were talking about Rob Zombie's Halloween.
Yes.
Okay, so I went and saw it in theaters, and I was
Good
not
for
a
you.
fan of House of a Thousand Corpses, because to me it felt like, while Rob Zombie is a horror fan, he just regurgitated everything he loved about horror onto the screen, which, you know, of course, we later found out is the truth. That's really what he did with House of a Thousand Corpses. He just took everything he loved, and he threw it in a blender, and there you have the movie. So I didn't really care for that. Then he made Devil's Rejects, and I love Devil's Rejects. I think it's a great film. I love the brutality of it. You know, the visceral style, the in your face. It does have a lot of great homages in it to different franchises and things. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, notably. But ultimately, Devil's Rejects is the fan that Rob Zombie hooked me with. And I said, okay, I'm a fan of him as a filmmaker. Before that, I would have said he needs to just stick to music, because I was a fan of his music. Am a fan of his music. So anyway, come Halloween remake, I was like, oh man, I cannot wait. Cannot wait. Went and saw it. Didn't care for it. I liked the first 30 minutes of Michael's backstory. And the reason I like that is the same reason why I support and like remakes or reimaginings, depending on what direction that they go in. But I think if you're going to do a remake or a reimagining, the filmmaker should take the source material and then put their own spin on it, so it's not exactly the same thing. And I know a lot of people hate remakes and reimaginings because they're like, oh, we've already got this, blah, 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 blah. But I go right back to what you said a second ago. If it wasn't for remakes, we would never have had John Carpenter's The Thing, which is, I think, by far one of the best horror films.
Right.
And I don't know any horror fan who doesn't like The Thing.
Yeah, so I do feel hypocritical when I say that I don't like remakes, and I've changed that.
You shouldn't feel hypocritical. You are a hypocrite.
Well, true, but people don't need to know that. Thanks for putting that out there for the world. But yeah, I mean, because it's one of my top probably 5 favorite horror films. I just have to say that. And it's amazing how many of them are John Carpenter films, but it is a remake, and it's an awesome remake. So I'm giving others a chance now. Like I didn't like the Fog remake. Just got to say I didn't.
The Fog remake is just a bad movie.
I just didn't care for it. But
that's
just
it though. Like
stuff.
it's not a very good movie.
So I mean,
general.
I've changed my tune there a little bit, you know. But you know, if it's a good movie, it's a good movie. I mean, I know that sounds corny, but it's a good movie. But if I've already seen the movie and I'm already a fan of the movie, my problem with watching a second one, I have a hard time not going into comparative mode when I'm watching it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm wanting to sit there and compare everything I'm seeing compared to what I liked in the first one, and it makes me pick it apart. So I have a hard time liking it, and that's something I've got to overcome. But that being said, going on a different topic, but back to the same thing, what movie just solidified you into the horror world?
We had a random sound in the studio, and for once it was not coming from Eric. So now you can yell at David a little bit.
Is that you, David?
But do it.
He says it wasn't him.
Do it
No,
nicely.
my volume's down.
Volumes?
Yeah, I took.
Was that a Freudian
I got
slip
all my
there?
volumes down, man. All right.
So
Wow, look at all the people comment on here.
I
Hey,
know.
everybody.
I'm trying to keep up, and it's
Well, you didn't want to talk to these people, you said.
Well-
So it's a podcast. But hey, everybody, thanks for joining. We're Eric and
yeah.
PJ as
Oh,
per
Chris,
usual.
So Chris Kraft said you have a cooler shirt,
Well, thank you.
and I have to disagree. Well, okay, I will say this: your shirt's probably cooler looking, but in terms of what's a better film, it's obviously Halloween.
That's not what he said. But anyway,
Well, he's
here we are
right,
in
but
October.
he's wrong.
Another podcast here at the Outbreak Studios. Thanks to our buddy David Abrams. Talking about horror films. We're going to be talking about our upcoming project or projects that we may or may not be looking at doing or trying to do. Getting a little more information about that out there. Talking about our favorite films right now. Halloween's the one that got me into it.
Right.
What is the one that solidified you as just, I'm a horror fan? Just
Okay, so first of all, Jared Burrito says, how much did I miss? Any announcements? No announcements
no
yet.
announcements yet.
Matthew Alm, is Nothing But Trouble a horror movie or just a horrible movie? It's neither. Nothing But Trouble's a fun movie. It's not a horror film, but it's a fun movie. It's not a horrible. Have you seen Nothing But Trouble?
Matthew Alm, who is he? Is he a filmmaker?
Oh, he created some failure of a film festival over in Evansville.
Hey Matthew, how's it going, man? Thanks for
I'm
chiming
kidding,
in.
man.
We
I
had to
love
give you a
you.
hard time. Don't ever get to see you. Matthew's a great guy.
Ray, The Thing is the best horror film ever. You're absolutely right.
You the man, Ray.
Um,
Ray of the Horror Syndicate, by the way.
I'm just
And a
trying to
big
go. There's a
supporter.
lot of comments.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of it's Rebecca and Ray going back and forth.
Hey, is she wearing her Devil's Night dress?
Samuel, is this live stream about VOB3 or ... It's about many things. We're talking about horror
And
films, and we're gonna and ...
and we're gonna make fun of each other a lot.
Oh yeah, we always
Yeah.
do that.
So,
Um,
anybody got any questions? Any comments? Throw them out there. We'll try to keep up with them. Thanks for joining us.
the second Halloween that Rob Zombie did was hot garbage. So I rewatched after 10 years the unrated version of Rob Zombie's Halloween.
The original?
The
the first one.
his first Halloween. The unrated version is much better, and I actually did enjoy it. There's still a lot of continuity errors and things, mostly in from the editing standpoint, and the narrative is a bit wonky every now and then. But overall, I enjoyed Rob Zombie's Halloween the second go around. So, but Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 is still a complete mess and garbage, hot garbage. Hopefully Rob Zombie's not watching this. I'm sure he is.
And this is nothing against Rob Zombie. We're not here to bash Rob Zombie. This is just part of the conversation that we're having. And you still have never said what movie solidified you as a horror filmmaker or a horror fan.
Yes, I like pickles on my sandwich.
Somebody on here said food a minute ago.
Yeah, they're
Who
talking
said food.
Apparently Jason Crow doesn't like pickles on his sandwich.
Ray, I wish we could honestly sit here and say, hey guys, Devil's Night is going to start filming on so-and-so date. I wish we were there, but we're not. It's killing us both.
But you're closer.
But we are closer, and we're going to talk about that later. We do
Okay.
have some Devil's Night news. It may not be the news people want to hear, but we are going to talk about that and some other things.
Well, when you say it like that, it makes it
makes
sound
it sound like it's
negative.
bad.
So
Well, no,
the
no.
movie is still happening.
yes,
everything's
I don't mean
good.
that to be negative. Well, don't be such a negative effing Nelly over there.
What's effing? What is that? Does that stand for something?
Freaking. I just didn't want to cuss on the air.
Okay, I think I'm pretty much caught up in the comments. I skipped through a lot of the food stuff. So,
Hey, Joe Buckley, if Rob Zombie was going to give us $500, he should have already done it.
all right. So, okay, here's the
That
film.
figures, Ray.
Here's the film that got me into horror.
Yes,
which is
finally.
weird because it's not really a horror film, but
Pete's
it's
Dragon?
the original Ghostbusters.
Oh.
I was 2 when it came out, so probably by the time it hit VHS, I was 3. So, but I started watching that very, very early on. So I was probably about 5, maybe so, whenever I really started to understand like what the paranormal things were, like ghosts and things. And that's the movie that really sparked my interest in the macabre. And I know it's a comedy there, but here's the thing: if you watch Ghostbusters and you don't take the comedy aspects and you focus solely on just the ghost stuff, it is a horror film. It really is. When that ghost, I mean, there's no blood, there's no real deaths or anything. Right. But like the library ghost, her transformation might as well be an American Werewolf in London. I mean, it's when she turns into that monster ghost thing. I mean, just minus any like blood or anything. If you're 5 years old, that's effing terrifying, you know? So
keywords, 5 year
you know,
old.
the monster dogs, all that stuff. So I guess there's a lot of horror elements in Ghostbusters, even though it's considered a comedy, not really a horror film. But that's the movie that sparked my interest. And then, of course, thanks to my grandmother, Gigi, give her a shout out. She's the reason why I got, because I would go spend the night at their house. And, of course, because of that, we would stay up all night watching, like, The Hitchhiker and Ray Bradbury's Theater and Alfred Hitchcock Presents and Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypt, stuff like that. Monsters eventually when it came out. Joe Bob Briggs, we watched a lot of his, like, you know, stuff. So, yeah, so that's really, but it started with Ghostbusters. What?
Dave McMahon just chimed in and said, I ain't afraid of no goats.
Oh,
that was bad.
All right, so
Eggs scared me as a kid.
PJ, Eric, let's get this movie made, fellas.
That's right.
Yes, I
That's
agree. Yeah. So, what? Just the way you looked at me with your glasses. So I have this Band-Aid that keeps falling off my finger. It's really pissing me off. In case you wanted to know.
Some Band-Aids, they're on there so tight they
You
strangulate
can feel
you,
it
and they're
throbbing.
great. You can feel it throbbing, and some of them it won't stay on there.
Yeah,
I don't care what you do.
It's and my hands, and normally I've got fat guy
There
hands.
we go. We need to invent
So-
the best Band-Aid and then sell them. We can make
Yes.
Devil's Night.
You know what we'll do? We'll make the best Band-Aid, then we'll put a Friday the 13th hockey mask on it,
And then
that
it'll sell.
will sell.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
which I'm going to throw this out there. No matter how you feel about like these Friday the 13th fan films, they're getting made and they're getting funded.
Yep.
And I'll be honest, I'm extremely happy for the filmmakers, but there is a bit of professional jealousy.
Oh, there's not a bit. There's a lot for me. Just being
because
honest.
people are throwing their money at these Friday the 13th fan films. So it doesn't make sense to me. Only from the stand, like, here's the thing: I made fan films when I was like 15. Like when I was starting out, I actually made my own version called Thursday the 18th, and I wore a catcher's mask so you could like see my face the whole time. But it was. Am I gonna have to kick you out of here like Trump kicked what's his face out into the Oval Office?
Hey, you're not supposed to be seen or heard, David. Do you understand that?
So I think he just turned his mic up.
Like he did.
Oh yes.
But yeah, but it's floored me because a lot of like original independent content is having a hard time getting made. We're in that group. But these Friday the 13th fan films, I mean, it's like insanity. Which I will say, though, congratulations to Drew Marvick because he's doing Pool Party Massacre 2, and he was successfully funded, so that's freaking awesome. And I really enjoyed Pool Party Massacre 2.
He's a hell of a guy.
Yeah.
Just
so,
Yep.
yeah. And then, Vincent just did, and once again, no matter how you guys feel or, the listeners and the viewers, how you feel about these Friday the 13th fan films, if we start talking about Friday the 13th and these flies are getting real excited all of a sudden. But yeah, so Vincent just got his movie like super funded. So congratulations to him. That's
D'Onofrio?
awesome. Yes, Vincent D'Onofrio made Never Hike Alone, and now he's making Never Hike in the Snow.
Oh, okay.
I believe that's what it's called. Or Don't Hike in the No, it's Never Hike in the Snow.
Don't what in the woods?
That's the third one. But Vincent, you'll have to forgive me because I think I just completely botched the title of your second film. But it got fully funded. And he's like 7 days out.
That's awesome.
And it's incredible.
I quit.
But part of me hates him. But it's not so much the filmmakers, it's the people with the money in their wallets. They don't care about Volumes of Blood 3.
What'd you do for people to hate us, PJ? What did you do?
I don't know. I think
Who did you piss off? That's what I want to know.
well, it's funny when we did one of the earlier podcasts, or maybe it might even been when we were doing like the live videos for the crowdfunding campaign.
Right.
I had made a comment that and then as egotistical as this probably sounds or comes across, one of my concerns was that I've put myself out there so much, doing so many press things, interviews, video interviews, podcasts, and stuff like that, that it would maybe, and plus Volumes of Blood just in general has been out there so much that David suffers from GI issues. So
He's got his head.
did you not? You didn't hear your chair?
You didn't hear your chair?
It sounded like a fart. To be blunt,
It was really loud and extended.
So anyway, I expressed that one of my concerns was that, excuse me, because Volumes of Blood had been out there so much, and I've put myself out there so much, not that I consider myself like famous or necessarily a name or anything like that. I don't want to know yet. That people think, oh, look how prevalent. Oh, it was maybe that's what it was. So anyway, that it's so prevalent out there, maybe people are thinking, oh, well, we've got the money. Why do they need our money? That was my concern. So when we were at Horror Hound a few weeks back, I actually had someone come up to me and say that they had talked to one or potentially two people that said, oh, yeah, PJ Stark's that big producer. Yeah, he's got, he's producing all these movies. Man, he must be rolling in the dough or something along those lines. So my fears right there were kind of confirmed. It's not true. And I did do, in the last 5 years, I have done a lot of like executive producing and stuff like that. But it was never from a financial standpoint. I mean, if I could help in that department, I would. But I don't know if that's exactly the reason why we're having these issues, have had these issues.
Yeah, I mean,
I feel like I'm rambling at this point.
This got really serious too. All of a sudden, it got really
super serious.
But I mean, I understand people looking at it that way. I mean, it would be easy from the outside looking in to see that. I don't. Well, I mean, outside looking in, not knowing you, not knowing us, I can see that. But people don't realize the ins and outs of it. Like we have made little or nothing off the first one. And when I say little or nothing, we started getting little bitty checks as of last year for the first film. And we haven't made a dime off the second film.
Right.
So there is no money going from first film to second film to help finance it from second film to third film. It's not there. That's why we're doing it. People don't see that. They see these movies are out there on Amazon Prime.
Right.
They see you executive producing. They see you on there doing all your stuff. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. And, sometimes some of the stuff I'm putting on there, and they just think, hey, these guys got some cash. I mean, this isn't our studio. Our buddy David.
Thanks, David. It's your fault. Yeah. You make us look like top dollar here.
This is his podcast.
Thanks, David.
This is his podcast.
His
podcast for his escape pod, and this is his, not ours. I mean, we were using a spare bedroom and a card table at my house before this.
Don't get me started on your spare bedroom.
That's right. So that film comes later. But
the spare bedroom, that's going to be the next movie we can afford.
It's just hard. I mean, there's a lot of people that have struggled getting money with their films here in the last few years. We're one of them.
Right. Well, I actually did another podcast this past Saturday, And we actually talked about that, like the whole crowdfunding thing. And I think this is part of the problem. You know, it's kind of this with when we talked about the Friday the 13th fan films, just fan films in general. There's some that are struggling to get made. But then a majority of these fan films are getting made or getting crowdfunded and then meeting their goal.
Right.
And I just lost my train of thought. Sorry, I'm going like 2 days without my anxiety medication, so I'm struggling a little bit here. So I'm just going to blame it on that. But what'd you laugh about? We'll talk about that because I really did lose my train of thought.
Well, Rebecca Reinhart put on here, there's a reason people put their money into F-13 fan films, ... Then 2 comments later, I saw you guys a horror hand and thought, I'm going to give these guys $20. So.
Right. I mean, here's the thing. We have gotten support, and obviously
Right.
other independent films, they're getting support too. This was the point that I was going to make. So when it came time to do Volumes of Blood 3, we were like, we're going to do this balls out. And when I came up with the concept for it and then got with some of the other writers and came up with the concepts for the other stories and then sat down and wrote the script and then went on, got with some of the other writers and went over, like Jared's sequence, which, his, I wouldn't say is balls out. Actually, he went, he was fairly reeled in. But when I wrote my sequences, I was like, hey, the sky's the limit. And because of that, it made the budget much larger. And we
special effects.
Right, and we kept saying, well, not necessarily just special effects. There's other facets. The majority of it is the special effects, but there's other facets too that we didn't have in the previous films that we're doing with this one. And so when it comes to crowdfunding, most of these crowdfunded films, most of them that are getting funded that aren't Friday the 13th fan films, they stay within a specific range, like $5,000 to $15,000. And some are struggling, some are meeting their goal. But then you look at like these other, like Never Hike in the Snow, and it had a $50,000 goal. And it was yesterday was the last time I looked at what it made. And it was like it got $53,000, right? So it's kind of like the studio system. The studio system says, "Hey, we're going to we're going to do a remake, right? And it's got a following, so it's a sure thing. So they're going to throw their money at it, right, to get the movie made because they know the populace, because it comes with a following, will do the same thing. And as much as people complain and bitch and whine about remakes and reimaginings happening in the studio system, the financial support coming for independent film is going in that same direction. Because in a lot of ways, crowdfunding for original content, I'm noticing, except for a few exceptions that I'm sure there's more than just a few, but what I'm noticing in the trend is that rather than people putting their money towards filmmakers who are trying to make original content, they're like, oh, somebody's making a Jason movie. I'll throw my money at that because it's something I know. I'll support that because I like Jason. I understand Jason. I know what Jason is. Or Michael Myers. Or I know there's like a Child's Play one that
Krueger.
got, Nightmare. And I don't want anybody to think that I'm not opposed to fan films.
No, I'm not either.
I have my name on a fan film. So do you. So it's not that I'm opposed to fan films or I think it's wrong to make a fan film.
We're just upset they're getting funded and we're not.
No, I will. If I'm being brutally honest here, I think it's absolutely ridiculous to spend $50,000 on a fan film.
That you're not going to recoup.
Right. And whether you're in it to recoup it or not.
Well, I mean, that's just what I'm saying. You're not going to recoup that because you can't sell it.
You can't
do anything.
Legally by law, this is no different. I know the Band-Aid keeps falling off my goddamn finger.
Watch your mouth.
Mad.
We're on Facebook.
So it's kind of like, let's say in an alternate universe somewhere, Volumes of Blood was the Halloween of that universe, right? And it's 20 years later. The face is our property. We licensed it. We've trademarked it. We've copywritten it. That's like someone going out and taking something we created 30, 40 years ago and spending $50,000 to make a movie off the face. So that's why it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, because it's not like a fan film, no matter how good it is, no matter how good it looks, no matter how good the acting is, it'll never see the light of day in theaters. It'll never become canon. In 30 or 40 years, because fan films have been made forever. Since I was in high school, I saw people making fan films. But no one's talking about these fan films 20 years later and going, oh, remember the Revenge of Jason that was made in 1997? Nobody is talking about these movies. That's why I don't understand. Now, I say all that to say this. I think it's phenomenal that these filmmakers are getting, because believe me, if somebody walked in the door right now and said, I'm not going to fund an iota, if that's even a real thing, of Volumes of Blood 3, but I'll give you $75,000 to make a Halloween fan film. Don't think for 2 seconds that I wouldn't go, I guess I'm making a Halloween fan film, because, yeah, I would jump all over that. So, I mean, that's like a dream come true. But really, you know, from a financial standpoint, from a filmmaking standpoint, like, I get doing fan films to say, here's what I'm capable of, or, you know, here visually, from a narrative standpoint. But, like, you can't do anything with it. You can't, you'll never profit. And I'm sure some people do or try, but legally you're not supposed to. And for me, this isn't, I know for us, this is not all about making money. It's like, we're not trying to become billionaires from doing original content.
We've been doing this 6 years, and we're in the hole. So
right. Well, I'm glad you let everybody know that.
Well,
but
I didn't give a number.
Right, that's true. Well, the
I
hole's
could have said negative 30,000.
The hole's deep.
But,
That's all we'll say. The hole's deep. But
deep and wide.
Right. But the thing is like, we can take what we've done and do something with it, or take it to the next level. But you can't do that with Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees or Chucky and things of that nature. The person who owns the rights to it can. They can do that all day, and they are. But anyway.
Getting a lot of people commenting on the fan films now, saying they're not being made for profit and they're supported by the fans. And I think that's what we've been saying.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well,
But
no,
I mean,
we know they're supported by the fans because
Yeah.
the fans are paying for
But
it.
if they do make a profit, then they donate to charity. And we're not cracking on them, or we're not saying anything. It's just, that's what PJ said. They already have that fan base that wants to see those.
Right.
And that's why they're getting supported by them. We understand. I think a lot of people are maybe misunderstanding that we're not cracking on those people. We're not cracking on those films. It's just that's why they're getting funded, and we're not. Our belief in it. It's just,
No, I believe, like I said, I would make fan films all day if that's,
yeah,
but nobody's going to fund my fan film.
yeah. So, but anyway,
Yeah,
I mean,
so this
thanks
is
for-
not, like I said, this is not about hating on fan films or anything like that. I mean, there were always, I made fan films. Even before I was like a part of Confessions of Fred Krueger, I've done fan films. So
why don't we talk about what you're doing
Oh,
next?
so
What do we restructuring?
restructuring.
What are you talking about, David?
Are you
Try
trying
out of this. No, we wanted to talk about horror movies that got us started. We wanted to talk a little bit about
Andrew, Jared, I don't think you've missed anything. That's how I feel right now. We've missed nothing. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we'll talk about Volumes of Blood 3.
Okay.
So while that fly lands right on your forehead.
All right. Let it sting away.
Sting.
I've had some flies sting the hell out of me.
Well, they bite you. They don't sting you.
It stings when they bite me, okay? So it's still a sting.
Touche.
Bite it.
Touche.
Anyway.
All right, so Volumes of Blood 3,
Yes, sir.
which I'd started to talk a little bit about
Devil's
this
Night.
earlier. Yes, Devil's Night, Volumes of Blood 3. So when we wrote the script, the film probably got a little big for its britches. So there's some areas that were very, what's the word I'm like, indulgent in terms of special effects and a few other things that we would love to have, but when it comes down to it, and I'll just be very open about this. So Eric and I have been kind of talking about this for a while. I was stubborn in the sense that I said, look, we're not doing anything to change the budget. We're not doing anything to change the scripts. It's not going to happen. I said that. I said there's no point in making the movie. But then you and I had several conversations where it was like, what are we trying to do with the movie? And then we ended up having a conversation with somebody at Horror Hound, and they kind of started talking about that. They were like, are you guys just trying to make some kind of special effects extravaganza? Or are you guys trying to make a movie and tell stories? Like, what's more important? Is it telling stories, or is it having, an insane amount of deaths? So, excuse me. So anyway, Eric and I kind of took that, and that got us to broach the conversation again about what are we trying to do with Volumes of Blood. I almost said horror stories, but horror stories has already been out. So,
Go ahead.
You all right?
Yeah.
So anyway, then we decided, well, you know what? Let's get together and let's talk about, in terms of story and structure and all that, the film is not touched. The film is exactly the same, the way it's been written. But then we started looking at, because the way the movie is, whereas you have like an independent film that, they do crowdfunding, it's like $5,000 to $15,000. They usually have like a very contained cast of characters. So you're looking at like 6 to 8 main, like a core group of characters. Whereas with Volumes of Blood being an anthology piece, it's an ensemble. So you've got, in the movie, you basically have 35 supporting roles, 35 main characters that go from the beginning of the film to the very end of the film, and then spattered here and there, no pun intended, some like walk-ons or, other characters to kind of fill in some plot points or just, or cannon fodder even. So because of that, we started looking at the film and saying, all right, do we want to do just how many kills do we really need? How many special effects do we need? And we basically ended up cutting down some of the kills. Going in, and we restructured the way some parts of the film were, and by doing that, we also kind of restructured the budget. So, can I say about how much we ended up cutting off the... But anyway, we ended up...
Everybody knew what we were looking for.
Right. So, originally, we were looking at about $50,000 for the budget. So, we've gone in and restructured things, and we've shaved off about $20,000 by cutting out things that we don't particularly feel like were... Not things that were detrimental, but they just weren't really all that important to the overall stories we were trying to tell. And because of that, we now are basically at just under 50% of what the budget is. So we're right at about 50% of where we need to be. So, Eric, do you want to talk about any of this?
What are we talking about again?
Oh, jeez. I know. You're over there like playing on your phone and your glass and
I'm
cleaning your glasses.
What people are saying. No, I just, we may have listened to a few people, talked to a few people, had some good talks on some road trips and realized some stuff that we needed to do. Then, we realized that maybe we were going too big. And we talked about it and we fought about it. I mean, not fought each other about it. We just were like, maybe this is something that we need to do we want to get this film made. And we've got people that are supporting us, the ones that have supported us already. And we want to get this film made. We're waiting. We're biting at the bit to do it. And we've got people that have supported us that are biting the bit for us to get it done. So we just talked about it, especially on the way back from Horror Hound, and So he's changed a few things, and we've talked about some other things we could do to possibly make it cheaper and got it to where we want. Now we're still only at 50%, so we got a ways to go, but we are going to start looking at other avenues. I know somebody said something about, forget who it was a while ago, said something about, have we looked at, what was it they said? It's not catching up. About us looking at other avenues for funding, and we are looking at different areas. I mean, right now we are looking for a salesman that works on commission to possibly do some product placement, advertising in the film. That would also get some media advertising and for them and advertising at premiere. So we're looking at doing something like that. We are going to have a silent, kind of a silent auction, Dave. Is that what we're going to do? Kind of online, sometime in the near future that we've talked about doing before. So yeah, we're just cutting some of the fat off of it, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, we definitely we trimmed some of the fat.
We went big, and there was a reason we went big. A lot of people think we're crazy, but it's going to be the last in the series. So we did one, and
you could throw something at him.
We did one, and it went really well for a small budget, and then we did about 4 times the budget on the second one. So we thought, well, if we're going to do a third one, finish the series, make it a trilogy, then let's go big and get it done and let people remember it. Well, it's not happening. We wanted to be filming 6 months ago, and here we are talking about it still. And I think some people maybe supported us or like, what's going on, what's happening, and we're trying to keep people updated as much as possible. And we are moving forward. The film is going to get made. It's just we got a little ways to go, but not as far. We're tipping at the top of the hill now and not still climbing.
Right.
So we got a few things we got to do. So if anybody is listening, know anybody that does do sell on commission, you can look us up on our bloodmoonpics@gmail.com or contact us personally on IM. You can give us their information. We'll contact them or have them contact us. We don't care if it's a business or if it's an individual. Anybody in the tri-state that's willing to give it a try, we'd be willing to talk to them. Anybody has any ideas, or as we've joked around before, has a rich uncle, or
you literally stole the joke right out from under me, you son of a bee.
All the money does go to the project, though. It is to get the project done and to be seen. It's not done to pad anybody's accounts. If anything, it goes into our account, which is the business account. Which, if there was anything left over, anything being made, would go to the next film.
To whatever the next project is. Yeah.
What the next project is. So. I mean, we're trying. I mean, PJ's married with kids. Got a full-time job.
Those are paid actors.
And a lot of people out there do. So we just we're trying. It's just been molasses in wintertime, and we're not happy about it. We want to be filming right now. We love talking to you and being on here, but we'd rather be somewhere filming on set, watching blood splatter. Trust me.
All right, Brooklyn said y'all seem a little salty. Which we probably do. I mean, I'm 10 years into this, 11 years into this, so I'm probably a little crotchety at this point. But no, we're not trying to be salty. I mean, I'm just giving my honest opinion. I mean, if I hurt somebody's feelings, I give him my honest opinion. I apologize. That's not my intent. But
yeah, I mean,
I can definitely see like the salty perspective. But hey. I can be sweet too. So salty and sweet. I'm like a Snickers bar.
I mean, I don't. I mean, maybe she feels that way, and I'm sorry she does. I don't think we came across that way, and that wasn't our intent.
Vincent says, any chance via? Well, first of all, he's the director of Never Hike Alone, and if anybody hasn't, if anybody hasn't seen Never Hike Alone, you definitely need to check it out because it's pretty awesome, and it's got a great cameo at the tail end, which I'm assuming kind of plays into the next movie, if I'm guessing right. So, but once again, congratulations to him for getting the next movie funded. That's pretty awesome. But he said, any chance VOB3 gets shopped around for private funding, and we've had several people ask us that, about getting private investors. For us, we're not opposed to doing private investments, but
it's just something we've never done.
It's something we've never done. So yeah, I'll speak just for me. It scares me a little bit to be financially tethered to someone on something that may never make its budget back. And some people are probably will hear that and say, "Well, that's filmmaking. That that's the chance you got to take." But once again, though, while I do professional video work for a living, that's my livelihood. This is a professional hobby. Now, we do this in the hopes to make profit or money of some kind in order to further future endeavors to keep making movies, because we do this as like a professional hobby. So this isn't something that pays the bills.
Right.
We do this in hopes to continue making money to keep making movies. And so we're not opposed to the idea of investors, but I'm not in love with the idea either. I mean, it's not off the table. It's definitely something that, we're probably, if we want to keep doing this, just being serious and honest, we'll probably have to get in bed with someone at some point. Well, if we want to keep doing this. So,
and in all honesty, we have talked to a few people that were semi-interested in doing it, but as soon as they found out the first two movies hadn't made their budget or they hadn't made a lot of money, then they were done with us. They didn't even want to get a contract. They didn't want to talk about anything. They wanted to see what the first two movies, and as we've said many times on here, we haven't made any money. We can prove we haven't made any money.
Well, the second film is still pretty. It released at the end of 2017, right? Or about midway through 2017. So, I mean, just from a business, I think that fly like went in your mouth. I think that's the grossest thing I've seen all night.
You got this sweet coffee drink over here, and it's on. I must smell like shit.
I don't know. They don't love my coffee drink.
This fly will not leave me alone.
So anyway, it usually takes about upwards of 5 years for an independent film to really start seeing any kind of profit, unless it's done, extremely well right out of the gate. But with the first film, there's actually a much deeper story to that, which I won't get into. If anybody has any questions about the first Volumes of Blood and what happened with the original distributor and everything, you can ask us about it outside the podcast. We'll talk about it, but we won't get into it now. Anyway, with that, I'm positive it made its budget back plus a profit. But because of the circumstances in which, what happened, we can't prove it. So we have had a few people who are like, because that's an investor. That's what they want. They want to know that they're going to make
they want to see numbers that we don't have.
Right. They want to know that they're going to make their money back, which makes sense. If I was going to invest in something, any investment's a gamble.
Right.
But I would want to know that I'm going to make something back.
And the ones, there's been few, less than 5 that we've talked to, and their first question is, how'd the first two movies do? And like I said earlier in the podcast, we've made little or nothing. Just started in 2018 making money off the first one, which was made 5 years ago.
Right.
And
that's because of the re-release, which was last year.
Right. And the second one we haven't earned a dime from.
Right.
So,
because there's could be
people may want
for those
to
who aren't
that,
aren't there's recuperable costs when you go into distribution and whatnot. So that's what we're still working on is the recuperable costs, which we're close, but once again, it's it is what it is.
I mean, we'll get it released. We will get our feature done. We just got to make the right contacts, and we're trying. We've talked to a lot of people in the last year. Different states, different cities, people that contacted us interested, and none of it's panned out, but we're still trying. There's still other avenues we're going. So, it will get made for all of you out there that have supported us up to this on this third movie. It will get done. It's just the time frame. So,
and our next film is going to be a Friday the 13th fan film.
Is that what somebody said?
No, that's what I'm saying. Because then I'll actually because it's not making a movie right now is like killing me creatively on the inside.
Well,
So,
I mean, honestly, I have nothing against Friday the 13th films. You know, I think it's great. Like we worked on a Nightmare on Elm Street.
that's not what you said before this podcast.
Yeah, but we worked on we both worked on a Nightmare on Elm Street fan film with Nathan Milner, and it turned out to be a great film. You can see it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's called Confessions of Fred Krueger. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It's Nathan Thomas Milner's fan film. It's his baby. He
Something
did.
He wanted to do from a kid, and he did it, and he
an
nailed
awesome
it. It's
job.
awesome.
Yeah.
And
Kevin Roach plays Freddy Krueger. And
Yes.
Kevin's just a phenomenal actor.
And he's been in both our films.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Hopefully, future projects will get him involved.
But I mean, honestly, if I was going to do a fan film, I'd want to do a Halloween film. That'd be me. I know, but that's where my passion is, because I'm a Halloween guy, not a Friday the 13th. I'm not saying I dislike Friday the 13th, but
Well, we've had this discussion.
yes, many
we've
times.
had this discussion.
But we haven't had it with them though. But that's me. I would rather do Halloween than I would Friday the 13th.
I would. I think at the end of the day, I'm a bigger Michael Myers fan than I am Jason Voorhees. But growing up, the fan films and stuff that I made were always Friday the 13th based. So Friday the 13th kind of has a special place in my heart when it comes to like the fan film sector. So I would almost probably, if I was going to do a fan film, we'll just do a double feature.
There we go. We'll just mix them together.
Ooh, we'll do Freddy versus Michael.
There you go.
Or not, I'm sorry, Freddy.
Did you hear? You did say Friday.
Yeah.
Didn't catch it. We are
Jason versus
our
Michael.
buddy John Thompson's got on here. We are going to be at his Night Risers Con in Elizabethtown this month. I believe it's the last weekend. Is that the 26th, the 27th, and 28th? Is that correct? You got a calendar?
Yes, we'll be there on Saturday.
Saturday, correct. Lissa Grant. If you've seen the first movie, she might have had a little makeup on and played a pretty good character in our first film. She wants to know if you can still get the first film, where to get it at, and if it will help fund the second movie or the third movie. Yes, Scream Team Releasing. We just mentioned Justin Seaman's name a while ago. He is the one that runs Scream Team Releasing. He did do the re-release of Volumes of Blood. It is the collector's edition. It is $20, I think, on his site. But all the money that we are getting from that right now, we are putting towards the next film.
Yep.
I mean, any money that we've got coming in right now, minus business expenses, is going into the budget for the third film. That's how we work. It doesn't go into our personal budgets.
You guys still have any T-shirts left?
Thank
Yes.
you, sir, in the
Yeah.
corner. Appreciate
Oh, and real
that.
quick before we get to that, I think people just in general, if you like independent film, you should just check out Scream Team Releasing.
Yes.
They have some really
lot of great
awesome.
films.
I dropped a hundo at Horror Hound on Scream Team because there's several
I didn't
movies
spend that much. I did 40 or 60.
Right. Well, I was behind because I'm always trying to, like, if I can, buy independent movies when I'm able to. So there were several from them that I've been wanting to get for a while, so I went ahead. But they have some great titles, and you should definitely check out Scream Team Releasing if you get a chance. All right, now go into what you're getting ready to talk about.
Well, I just
that benefits us
I just
more.
want to go back in here and I think Brooklyn's replying to your comment a while ago about us being salty, and she said a little. But it's.
Well,
I'll just tell you this, Brooklyn. It's probably because of his lack of medication, because he's just a hateful person without
That's
it.
true.
You just got to be around him.
That's true.
But
I am going
I
2.5 days without my anxiety medication, so there's probably
Nothing that we
Some of
said
that
tonight or
going on.
started out to say was meant to come off that way at all. It was just the fact that we haven't got funded, but there's been a lot of fan films that have. My God, David, would you get freaking fly
I think these
strips or
flies have
something
had
in here?
sex and
I-
given
I-
birth to
Jesus
7
Christ.
more
You know,
full-size
but anyway,
you
flies.
so
you really can't see them on camera. You should probably just relax.
Well, considering this one was
Okay,
like
let me
right on
bring
my
Fireflies
eyeballs,
over
like
in your
Aeon
face.
Flux.
So
over
anyway,
here.
I just want to get this out there. We did not meant to upset anybody. That wasn't our intent. It was just talk about how fan films are getting, and we're not. So we're being babies about it maybe a little bit. We didn't mean to come off salty. I just
Probably,
wanted
yeah.
to get that out there. So if we did upset anybody, I just want to right now, we apologize for that. That wasn't
Yeah.
the intent. It was just comments being made. Nothing about any film.
Yeah.
Out there, I mean, he might
Vincent,
have picked,
Jeremy,
he might have picked
Peter,
a film
we still
out, but he
love
wasn't
you. We
picking
don't
that film
hate you
out
guys
to
because you've been
knock
part
the
of fan
film.
films. Yeah.
He was picking the film out. That's just one people he knows that have done one that has gotten, So I just want to make sure we don't want to offend anybody. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to be goofy and talk about independent film and horror.
Well, I am. His goal is to offend
And
people. He
PJ's
said it to me.
hemorrhoids. But anyway, I just want to thank Shane Prather got on here.
You
and
said that we weren't going to talk about that.
You got this, guys. Maybe I can pull some strings. Shane, pull away.
Yes.
Pull away,
Pull
Shane.
all the strings that you can.
I will bow to you naked on the courthouse square here in Owensboro if you pull some screens.
Well, there goes the help right there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't. Well, it was a joke. I'm not going to.
Every
get
time
naked.
you,
I'm not going to get naked. It's a joke.
It
Why
always,
is my nudity
it
bother
always
you so much.
Well, if you were younger, it probably wouldn't be so bad. But you remember that part in Big Daddy where it's like,
Old balls.
oh, I hope you enjoy his sagging skin and his old balls.
How do you know I got sagging skin, old balls? You don't know that. You've never seen me. God, David.
I can't tell.
These
The skin probably not saggy, but those balls.
Anyway, back to the subject. One other way that we are supporting, getting money, we are selling
Our bodies.
Our bodies, yeah. But anyway, no, our T-shirts that we had made for Devil's Night that Michael Broom did the artwork for, we are still selling them. They're $20, $25 with shipping. You can hit us up on bloodmoonpics@gmail.com or personally. If you're in Owensboro, we will personally deliver it, and there won't be a $5 delivery charge. It'll be just $20.
And to clarify, he's talking about T-shirts, not our bodies.
Not our bodies delivered locally. And yeah. So, just want to say thanks to all the support. And what were the dates on Night Risers we were going to be? Was that the 26th? Did you look that up, David?
Yeah, I think it's the 27th.
So you're just going to sit there and listen and do nothing? You can't help out and look at a calendar? You can't go get a flask of water? Jesus. Anyway, hey, guys. Thanks for joining in. This is Proctober. Go get your prostate checked. Thanks for joining in.
Oh, so when...
But, yes.
When I had my last doctor's visit.
Yes.
Which is when I had a health scare recently.
Is that why we have all the flies in here?
Could be. I'm checking my prostate right now, and they're helping.
It is Proctober.
So I had a bit of a health scare
that is taken seriously
recently, so I had to have a GI scope done, upper GI. Thankfully, it came back okay. So it's just I'm having a fly epidemic in here. No, I had 2 ulcers and a bacterial infection in my stomach because of Friday the 13th fan films.
God, here we go.
No, I'm
We're
joking.
gonna be hated.
No, I did. No, I don't. No, but I really do have. Anyway, so I'm everything's gonna be fine. But I say all that to say this. She started talking to me very seriously about prostate exams.
Yep.
I was like, I'm only 37. She goes, yeah, they start at 40 now, not 50.
Sure do. They backed it up 10 years.
Oh, they're backing it up 10 years.
So
All
I've
right.
been getting them, according to you, I've probably been getting them for the last 40 years.
You've been getting them since Abraham Lincoln was in office.
Hi-oh!
4 fingers ago.
Moon River.
But yeah, so
okay. Back to
speaking of Proctober, that's why. Yeah, so it was a bit of a scary.
I mean, I jokingly did that just to kind of ease it out of the seriousness, but it is Proctober. Guys, get your prostates checked. It is a good thing.
Funny enough, when you said Proctober, I was about to tease you because I thought you misspoke. I didn't realize like that. Is that a thing?
Yes.
That's like No Shave November.
Well, I know. I'm plugging a radio show, Bob and Tom show. They do that every year.
Proctober?
They talk about Proctober, and they're seriously talking about
okay,
men
I was gonna
going
say.
and getting. They're being serious about men going and getting their. And they do a live. They have Chick McGee gets on there, and they have a nurse come in, and they do a mic into his mouth when he's getting it checked. The nurse is behind the screen, and they can't see it, but they can see his head, and they mic him. So when he's getting checked, it's like, oh, yeah. So you hear it.
Yikes!
But they're doing it in fun, but they're trying the seriousness of get people to get it checked. And why do I keep moving the
Well,
mic?
here's the upside. So
Sorry, David.
I'm going on 6 or 7 years now with low testosterone. I have to get weekly testosterone injections. Everybody's learning about all my health problems tonight.
Is that why your boobs are bigger?
And probably that's what I'm. In all seriousness, I've researched it. Part of my weight gain is because of the whole testosterone thing.
Here,
Yeah,
let me
my
check, see if they're
metabolism. Oh no, they're going on a C cup now.
Okay.
But my shirt's staying on. Just so you're aware.
We will
You
go
don't get to
topless
see these
some night.
plate nipples. That's all I'm saying. But no.
Well, they're one half
I'm
our
kidding.
followers.
They're actually tiny and cute. But But no, so I actually found out that men with low testosterone have a much lower chance of getting prostate cancer.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So my life expectancy is still shorter, but my chances of prostate cancer are really, really small. Yeah.
Anyway, enough about our health, but yeah, guys.
I think I just swallowed a fly with that laugh.
Good, we got rid of one of the 30. But basically, we're here. It's October. We wanted to talk about horror. We want to talk about Blood Moon Pictures. PJ and I just realized we've been working together now for 6 years, believe it or not. It's been a long way since the...
Well, I've been doing all the work. Eric's just kind of been hanging out.
Of course, yeah. I'm hanging, meaning my old, frankly. Anyway, but yeah, we've been together 6 years. We've, in December, it'll be 4 years since we started Blood Moon Pictures. And we are working on our third film, Volumes of Blood 3.
Yep. Been working on our third film, Volumes of Blood 3.
Devil's Night for a while now.
Yeah. Announced at the tail end of... Actually, it was announced that the script was being written in, I think, June of 2017. And...
only been 2 years.
2 years later, here we are. But because of our restructuring, we are now at 50... We're at 50% of the budget, but if you were in the room, 85% flies.
Yeah. And a lot of people don't realize. They wonder what happened with this, maybe, or what's going on, what's different. Well, we did set the budget higher, but we set the budget higher for the second one. We had no problem meeting the budget for the second one, so we thought we'd go into this the same way, and we hit a wall, and then the wall got thicker and taller and thicker and taller, and, you know, I just couldn't stand PJ's weight on my shoulders anymore, so...
I have gained some.
So, yeah. But anyway, that's ultimately where we're at. We're independent filmmakers. We're going to continue to make film. We're going to make Devil's Night. It's going to happen. It's just when.
Right.
Where? Here in Owensboro.
I mean, here's the thing.
We don't know the when.
When we were at Horror Hound, we shared, we were right next to Daniel Kiley
and Max Groh.
Max Groh.
At the Scream Team releasing.
And apparently, from what Max was saying, it took a while for him to get Bong of the Living Dead made.
10 years.
Was it 10 years?
10 years. It was 10 or 13. But I think 7 of that was writes and rewrites, because it started out as a project. If I remember Max correctly, it started out as a writing project, get their minds fresh about writing. And then over time, it became rewrites and writes. And it was like, hey, so they ended up making a full-blown feature out of it. But it took like 7 years to get to that, because it started out as a writing project.
Right.
And then it's like, well, you know, I don't know if, like, somebody said, you should just go ahead and make this a movie. I don't know where it went from there, but I think it was like 7 years of writing and then 3 of getting it together and the money, and then actually making the film and getting it out there. But I think it was like 10 years from beginning to end.
So as long as we make this movie in less than 10 years, we're doing pretty good. That's what I take.
As long as I can afford a motorized wheelchair in 10 years, or you promise to push me in the one if I can't.
Well, by then we'll be able to remove your consciousness from your body and stick it into a robot Eric. So you'll be fine. You'll be able to play the face again. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, face in space.
Yeah, because as it stands right now, you're not gonna be able to.
What are you talking about?
Oh, not that. I'm not talking about that.
Anyway,
yikes.
Buzz, anything else you want to talk? Let's talk about flies. You want to talk about flies?
Lord of the Flies?
Lord of the Flies.
That's what David put on there. He put Lord of the Flies. And then he actually apologized. Sorry, I opened the studio door.
Hey, it was nice outside. It
is really nice outside.
And that's why he had the door open.
I'm so glad it's finally the fall. Like, it actually feels like fall.
We cannot complain because it's a beautiful studio. And if we have to swat a few flies, I feel like King Kong all of a sudden. Like, you know, I'm hitting planes and stuff, you know. I feel like a big hairy monkey.
Did you guys see the Amityville Horror?
Yes.
The original?
Is that the one where James Woods ends up pooping on the toilet?
Well, you remember all the flies?
Oh, wait, that's Scary Movie 2.
No. All the flies.
I do.
See, that's you should feel.
That was Rod Steiger, wasn't it?
Horror elements. It'd be great.
Was it Rod Steiger?
Was it Rod Steiger?
Yeah, because he played the priest.
Yeah, the priest.
Ryan Reynolds was in the remake, right?
Yeah, that was the remake.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying.
I liked the remake.
Well, of course you did.
So what we're trying to do tonight is make a fan. Never mind.
Pouring salt on new wounds.
Brooklyn said, Eric, I'll push you around.
Awesome. That means I won't have to do it.
Dang.
Or Haley. Haley and I can go get lunch while Brooklyn's pushing
Brooklyn,
you around.
Brooklyn, as much as I appreciate that, you could have just said, you're not that old, Eric. But hey, thank you very much, girl. I appreciate it.
No, Brooklyn, thank
Any
you.
support.
I think you said the right thing. That's the right thing to have said.
But
oh, my God.
We're here to be goofy. We're here to talk about our films, our likes of horror, our
Except
company,
for when we get real serious.
and apparently our medical problems.
I'm like Bob Dole all of a sudden. We're
here to upset. We're here to upset people.
Yeah.
Or PJ is.
Yeah.
We're here to, we're pest controllers. We
We're
wear
not,
many hats
but we
when we're in the
desperately need to
studio.
call one for David.
We're this is the last time we're going to be in this studio.
About ready to wrap us up, guys?
Why?
So, how long have we been going?
An hour and 10 minutes.
Matthew Olm says, are there any horror films that are also romantic comedies? Warm Bodies was a zombie film.
Good call. That was a good, yeah.
Yeah, that also has a romantic.
What is this, Hulk? How you say his last
Yeah,
name?
he plays Beast in the
Yes,
X-Men, the
series,
newer
yes.
X-Men
And he
franchise.
was in the Giant Killer as well.
I didn't really like that movie.
Well, he was in it. I
got
didn't
bored.
ask you if you liked it. I just said he was in it.
Or was it Jack and the Giant?
Jack the Giant Slayer.
Jack
That's
the
what
Giant
he was in.
Slayer.
He was in that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I was thinking of another movie. I did like Jack the Giant Slayer.
Okay.
So, but
On the Empire State Building.
I'm trying to think of other.
Romantic.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead kind of is.
Well, yeah.
Joe Buckley says Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead is a romantic comedy, but it's not.
We got to give it to him, though. I think that's a good call.
Yeah, because
I think it's a good call.
It's been a while since I've seen. Do they get together at the end of Shaun? Are they back? Yeah, they're back together at the end of Shaun. So yeah, I guess it is a romantic comedy. What is it with zombie movies or being also romantic comedies? Because I'm trying to think of another. What about American Werewolf in London? It's a comedy, and there's some romance in it with David's character hooking up with the nurse. And
That's sex. That's
she
not
ends
romance.
up. No, they kind of fall for each other. 'Cause
that's
she's
true.
crying at the end of the movie after the terrible thing happens to the werewolf. I don't want to say too much if you haven't seen American Werewolf in London, which, let's face it.
Oh, somebody shaves him. That's all that happens.
Yeah. I think we saw two different movies. The movie, I rented a video
just
store.
not- yeah, I
You
was
watched
just-
yours online.
I was just not giving anything
For
away.
free.
I was just throwing them off.
You're throwing them off, all right. Bride of Chucky.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Got to go.
Yeah, Tiffany and Chucky.
Yeah.
I guess that is kind of a romantic comedy.
Who brought that up?
My cousin, Donovan.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
And I'm drawing a blank here on that.
I kind of
about,
am too. David, you got any horror films that are
What about
romantic comedies?
Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
Was that a romantic comedy?
Sure.
Oh, it wasn't.
Hey, ended up that way.
No.
I expect
Romantic
so much more
comedy
out of you,
like
David.
between Tucker and Dale?
No.
What about Army of Darkness? He falls in love with the
Sure.
That's true. There's about 5 minutes of romance in that movie, and then let's face it, it's Ash. There's very little romance happening. I'm drawing a blank,
Yeah.
except for
the ones that got brought
So
up.
thank
are some
you to
good ones.
Donovan, Joe, and me because I came up with one.
Yeah, there
body,
you go.
so.
I drew a blank.
Yeah. Good old Eric shooting blanks again.
Yeah, that's me. Thank God.
So,
Oh, where was we going? I was going somewhere, and then some.
Matthew asked the question.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Matthew interrupted us. Let's see here. Dang.
We're gonna have to add in a bunch of digital flies.
Yeah.
To where
Too
people
bad they
can-
wouldn't crawl across the camera now where people could see it. That would be badass, but because that did happen earlier. Anything else we want to talk about? We talked about needing a salesman. Talked about T-shirt sales. Talked about where we at with the movie, how we changed things. Pissed off a few people about fan films.
We didn't piss off.
Oh, I'm
a few
kidding.
people.
I'm trying to make light.
I
of
mean,
the
I'm sure
situation.
somebody got a little.
Texas Chainsaw.
But then
Part
again,
2.
you can't. I mean, you can't tell it's through messages. Messages are cold. So
Texas Chainsaw Part 2.
Texas Chainsaw Part 2. Yeah, I guess kind of. Between Leatherface and I can't think of her name. The radio DJ. I'm drawing a blank on the radio DJ.
Lick my plate, dog dick.
Welcome to
I'm quoting a movie.
welcome to the Escape Podcast.
Leprechaun 2. Yeah, Leprechaun 2 is.
Yeah.
Leprechaun 2 is also my favorite Leprechaun movie.
He's a big. He had Jerry had he got some stuff signed. I forget when I was up at Louisville, and even at I think at Horror Hound, he was getting some Leprechaun. Wasn't one of the directors from one of the they got pictures with? Wasn't it Jerry?
You're talking about Horror Hound?
Yeah.
Had Leprechaun Returns director was there.
That's right. I knew there was something.
Yeah,
about
he
him
made
and
The
Leprechaun.
Void
It's
and
funny,
Leprechaun
he brings that
Returns.
up, and then
Yeah.
he was up there. He got pictures with them.
Matthew, check out an independent film called She Was So Pretty, Be Good for Goodness Sake, and I think you'll find some romance in that. So, have to check that out.
What he said. Which which is Brooklyn's, who's chiming in, and Jerry, who's chiming in. Both are involved in that film.
Have you seen that yet?
I have not.
Okay, it's really good.
I thought I ordered it, and the other night I started to get horror movies out to start watching some throughout the month, and I can't find it. So I got to look back to see if I ordered it, to see if I didn't get it, or I thought I ordered it and I need to.
I thought you did get it.
That's what I thought, but I can't find it. That's why I didn't buy it from them when we were up there, because I was like, I got that at home, and I got home and I can't find it, because there's about 10 movies from independent people that I've met that I haven't seen their movies, and I wanted to, like, every other night watch one.
Right.
And I can't find hers. Sorry, Brooklyn. I will get it and watch it. I don't know what happened.
Here's what I take away from this. I'm the better friend. Well, you should definitely see it. Matthew, you should definitely check it out because it's a good movie.
Candyman.
There's actually a part in it that...
In the flashbacks?
The flybacks?
Flashbacks.
No, the flies are back.
Damn it.
No, so in Brooklyn's movie,
Yes.
there's a part in it that's extremely gross. It takes a lot to gross me out, but there was a part in it that was really gross. I actually talked to Jerry about it at Horror Hound. But anyway, Candyman. Yeah, Candyman.
Wait, that's 3. Can't say it anymore.
Candyman?
Yeah, don't say it anymore. Cause
Tony Todd's going to show up and be like,
Yeah.
remember that awkward conversation we had at Horror Hound 10 years ago? I hate you. I don't know why he sounds kind of like Hulk Hogan, but I hate you, brother. That's an awful Hulk Hogan, too. That's a really bad Hulk Hogan.
And now I need to apologize to all the wrestling fans out there tonight for PJ's. The Fly, Jeff and Gina Davis. Great one. Well,
Yeah,
it's
we
not really a
actually-
comedy, though. It's not really a comedy because we're looking for a horror comedy.
Romantic comedies.
Romantic comedy.
Well, I mean, yeah, but
It's a good romantic
Be
one.
Good for Goodness Sake's not a comedy either. And
Oh.
I kind of took us off
Oh, okay.
the romantic comedy
way
path.
to go, PJ.
So
You took what off? You got any no
it's a
pants off?
horror with romance. I just took the comedy part out of it.
You took your pants off?
What, in The Fly?
Is that why there's flies? You took your pants off?
Yeah, and they actually were. I had them stuffed in there.
David's getting so pissed.
It's
Hey,
okay.
if you just tuned in, welcome to
We know what to get him
next,
for Christmas, cans of
our
Raid.
next podcast for Blood Moon Pictures. And for some reason, I think we're going to talk about the movie The Fly tonight.
Joe Buckley says Park Chan-wook's vampire film Thirst is almost a romantic horror comedy.
Okay, almost doesn't count. Sorry.
I'm sure it's like really good though, because Asian horror films usually are really good.
Yes, I agree.
The Host is like one of my favorite. Have you seen that? It's awesome. They're supposed to do a sequel. Train to Busan is really good. Have you seen Train to Busan? I know it's got like 15 flies in this
And it was
head of hair
there
that
was
Ryan...
there was 2 in your hair when you were telling me that.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I don't know what happened. They didn't show up till like midway through it. What would you do? Did you have them in a jar over there? You let them out on us just to do it?
I think we said something that pissed them off.
I guess. Because I mean, do you remember in the first half there weren't like anything?
No.
And then all of a sudden it's like there's 30 of them. Or
I think someone who's watching is a witch and they put a spell to to have these flies attack us.
Okay. Well, we've been here an hour and 10 minutes.
It's from the director of Old Boy and Lady Vengeance. I haven't seen Lady Vengeance, but I did see the American remake of Old Boy with Thanos. I can't think of his name.
Brolin.
Yeah, Josh Brolin, which that was really good. So the original is probably even better, I would assume.
All right.
Okay. Well, are there any
No, we just wanted to get on here tonight and kind of give people an update on what's going on with Devil's Night Volumes of Blood 3, which is the third and final film of the Volumes of Blood trilogy from Blood Moon Pictures, P.J. Starks and I, Eric Huskisson. We are still trying to get it funded. We've cut the budget. We're close to half.
Yep.
And would like you to call in now and give your pledge. We have several callers or people waiting to take your calls.
Thanks, Jerry.
Yes. But you know anybody that is looking to privately fund something or likes to go on different ventures with their money to, gamble a little bit, give us a holler.
I didn't mean to smack the mic, but I had a fly crawling up my nostril.
And
so
you can buy
action had to be taken.
You can buy our T-shirts.
That's fine.
And if anybody's a salesman or knows a salesman that works on commission or will work on commission, please give us a holler. All of this or any other questions or answers you may need, bloodmoonpics@gmail.com, or you can contact PJ and I on our IM page.
Short of doing anything illegal,
Yes.
we will accept any ideas and
Yes.
any
Yeah, y'all have
any
any
ways
ideas, that's great.
honestly, we're probably going to give crowdfunding one more go at some point.
And we will do the
Especially
silent
now that
auction
we're,
thing.
over 50%, at almost 50% of the budget.
We'll do the silent auction thing too.
Yeah, we've got that.
Yeah.
But what we need
there.
is we need someone who wants to come on board and help the project, specifically in the financial area, not necessarily through private investing or investments, but someone who can help kind of pitch the project to sponsors, which is how we funded the entire second
through
film.
product placement
Yeah.
and advertising. Yes.
Yeah. So
And
if
it worked
anybody,
well. It worked well for the ones that came on board, and we fully funded the last film with it. And we already have a couple of companies. The Fraternal Order of Eagles, David Creamer and them helped us out, and they've come on board. And Joy with Casson Realty. What's her last name?
Just call Joy.
Joy. Okay. Joy at Casson Realty.
Yep.
Has come on board to help us out, and so I'm sure there's others out there that would like to come on board. It's a little outside the box advertising promotion, but there have been people that have used it before. We do have packages that we can send you through email, or we can give you a physical copy to look at and or talk to you about. Now that we've gotten all that through, PJ got to talk about his medical issues earlier, so I'm going to go through mine. We got another hour.
Sure, Eric, whatever you want.
Yep. You don't need sleep tonight, do you?
No, I'm good.
But that's it. Has anybody
Yep.
else got any questions?
Yeah. If anybody else has any other questions other than that, I think we're about done at this point.
Okay. Well,
So.
welcome to Proctober. No, just kidding. So anyway, anything you want to talk about? Anything going on? I know you're doing your podcast now. You got any other projects you're doing on the side, or while we wait, see if anybody wants to question anything? Or David, what about you? What you got going on? Anything good going on?
No, we're just doing the podcast, Escape Pod, and then we're also doing some Outbreak Live episodes, and got some other things in the works coming up, and whatever we can do to help you guys.
And that's through the Outbreak Studio, your Escape Pod podcast, right?
Outbreakpodcast.com.
All right, check them out. David's had some pretty well-known wrestlers, some special effects artists from Hollywood. He's had some musicians and singers and stuff on there. He's had quite a few people. I suggest checking it out. He's had some pretty cool guests on there.
We've even had Eric and PJ on.
Oh,
before,
those hacks
several
from
times.
Yeah.
those hacks from Owensboro, Kentucky.
Those
Whatever.
two guys who
You
can't
guys
get
are
a
great.
movie made.
Yeah,
You don't want to. You don't want to.
Yeah, you don't get with them.
You guys are great.
you know what their nicknames are? Quicksand.
Who the hell cares?
Yeah, quicksand. Stuck. Nothing. Going nowhere.
Oh, you're gonna love when you listen to this back. That's all I'm saying.
No, I don't listen to them back. They're horribly produced.
Wait, what?
Ow.
He said you're going to love this when you listen to it back, because I don't listen to it back. They're horribly produced. No, we have to
I
thank
guess you had
David
to be
Abrams
there.
so much for letting us do this and bringing us into his home when he do this. at night.
Sorry about the flies, guys. We will fix that
Hey,
next
I
time.
mean, it's not
a
your
good
fault.
joke,
You
and
didn't-
it's not.
yeah, you didn't
It was nice out. The garage door was open, and we
You didn't realize that 2 flies were going to become 14.
Yeah,
and
that's so weird.
Fly into our
It's
mouths
like
and
two,
eyes.
it's like 2 of them went and woke up all the other flies in the building
Yeah.
that were asleep, and hey, they're doing a
Yeah.
live broadcast. Let's get on air.
I think they were so excited about this podcast, they went and got their friends. They said, "You've got to listen to this and crawl on their eyeballs."
We'll do our own remake, and we'll do like Hitchcock's The Birds, but it'll be the flies.
Yeah. I can tell you this, whatever movie we do next, it's going to be 2 people like this in this studio.
I don't know. Some people
Because
think
it'll
we're
be a
too far
lot-
apart.
It'll be a lot cheaper to make.
We'll just read the scripts and have him do sound effects.
There you go.
We'll do like old timey radio. We'll have like sound effects. We'll do all, yeah. Let's do that.
River Park Center used to do that.
Don't care.
Well, then.
All right. Whoops. Get it? Anybody else have any other questions? Well, people, thank you for the ones that joined in and listened to our BS tonight.
Yep.
And ramble on and the goofiness and about PJ's medical problems and about our slow-going Devil's Night series or ending series. So I guess we're going to sign off here and let David spend some time with his family and let our family spend some time with us, even though they really don't want to.
Did you see what Joe said? Okay. We won't touch on that, but but it's true.
Okay, Joe. We're not going to.
Why do you not have if you know these things, why do you not have a job at Orkin? That's what I want to
Yes.
That's what I want to know, Joe. I don't know why I asked the question out loud and looked and then paused as if somehow magically he was going to be able to answer through the camera.
Hopefully, here in the near future, we're also going to have some guests on here. We have the option where people can call in and talk now. I don't know if David told you about that with the new system he's got. We can actually hear them.
Well, we can have people like live call in.
Yeah.
Why didn't we do that tonight?
Because he didn't tell me about it until we got here.
Pew, 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 pew.
Did you just do it? Awesome.
That's my favorite sound effect.
Oh,
All
it's
right,
all through the
guys.
show.
We could sit here and ramble on until 10 o'clock tonight. Thank you very much for watching us. Appreciate all the support from
It is
everybody and the people
definitely-
that get on here and watch and chime in and have helped us in the past and will help us in the future and are helping us now. We pray for PJ and his medical issues. Pray for David and the Orkin man coming tomorrow and taking care of him. And
Yeah, he's going to have a big bill
yeah.
if tonight's any
Yeah.
I can't think of the word. The word escapes me.
All right. But anyway, you all have a good night. We're going to be back here next Tuesday, Peach?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
Unless we get a whole bunch of hate mail from tonight, and then we'll have to
maybe we'll
make
need to
it.
maybe we need to get Brooklyn to call in next week.
We could get Brooklyn to call in. We should do that.
And she'll just tell us we're salty then and hang up on us. And then we'll be like, what do we do now?
Oh, you ruined it.
I keep trying to apply. They say they don't hire large rats. Okay. Apparently the stuff Joe's taking has kicked in, and it's time for us to go.
All right. So, I think we tried to end this now about 10 times. So, I think we're going to officially end
Thanks,
it.
guys, from PJ and I and David and his Skate Pod broadcast, Outbreak Studio. David's waving. We're waving. See you all next Tuesday.
Good night.
We'll be more organized. Bye.